wants to be able to be there for a festival and a celebration of wrestling. It's WrestleMania weekend. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Justin, and it has to happen now, and they got plenty of time to figure this out by the time of 2027. The MLWs, the NWAs, the GCWs, the West Coast Pros, the Ohio Valleys, the ICWs, the Maple Leaf Pros, and the Memphis Wrestling, and on and on and on, all the indies need to be able to come together and be able to figure out, even with the help of AEW or without the help of AEW, they have to figure out how they can be able to congregate on one city and have what is considered wrestling Woodstock. They have to be able to say, hey, WWE's in Saudi Arabia, and I know that it's a big weekend for them, but what about us? So I know that over the years it's been hard for promoters to even, try to come together and agree on lunch. But I think that there needs to be a city, Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Los Angeles, Seattle, wherever it is. Everyone needs to come together and say, for WrestleMania weekend, you want to go someplace? You used to go on someplace every year in April. They should be able to have something in which they say, they're in Saudi Arabia, but we're here to celebrate you and celebrate wrestling. I think that would be awesome.
Well, I agree with you first and foremost on there's an opportunity to be had, as you just said, that there's going to be a lot of fans that are used to traveling for wrestling or at that time of the year that, probably are not going to be traveling to Saudi Arabia. So, yes, give a Woodstock of a show somewhere in the United States. And 2027 is a long time away, relatively speaking. As we sit now, it should be AEW takes that lead because they have the most money, they have the best distribution, they have the most resources. That said, here's the problem. Here's the problem I see with it. One, between now and that time, let's just say the road to that Mania, which is just about a year and a half away, we don't know how many more companies and things TKO is going to buy up. Right now they have purchased and now own AAA. They have this working relationship with this inevitable thought that they're going to own TNA on paper eventually. And then after that, you don't know what else they're going to grab. Also, what they do currently have, they're still going to have, is the WWE ID program, and they have some of these promotions and even their schools being tied into the WWE system. And I could see WWE and TKO saying, hey, kid, you want to remain a WWE ID superstar? I really hope I don't see you on that show that all the other promotions are trying to put together to counter us. Or, hey, said promotion, we'd really like to keep you in our pipeline and keep who knows? We might even have a distribution spot for you one day on one of our digital spaces. I really hope that I don't see you partaking in this. So that's and that's what I think might be one of the real struggles. That doesn't mean that still doesn't mean that that every talent is locked up and threatened by it, and that doesn't mean that every talent will give into that and say, WWE seemed a long way off, and that or many years away from me. I'm going to work where I can work now and get paid where I can get paid now. It could still happen, but that is a real obstacle that certain talents and companies will be dealing with. Is that who knows in 18 months how much more influence WWE is going to exert on the business here in terms of control.
This is why we have a vast amount of wrestlers. Here's the thing about that. As you well know, with all of the different companies and all the different talent that is able to congregate onto WrestleMania weekend, Joey Janela's thing, or this guy's show, or this guy's show, man, there's so much talent out there, free agent talent and indie talent, that you could fill it up and be able to do something special. I think, but you can't. I guess my overarching point is that you can't get them all, Justin. You can't lock them up all if you're WWE.
Correct. You can't have them all. Mm-hmm. I'll be real interested in what. Okay, first off, Yes, they can't grab them all, and you're right. Joey Janela does the spring break show, and they're like Colt Cabana used to do the $5 wrestling thing, and there's all kinds of different. But I will say that, and this is one thing that AEW has helped and hurt in a way. It's helped for the guys and girls to get paid. I do feel like the indies are I feel like having talent that are on the independents that are creating a buzz. There's less and less of that. It used to be pre AEW. It used to be, WWE, and then like you would hear about once upon a time. Yeah, Kevin Owens talked about this actually with Cody Rhodes on Cody's podcast a couple months ago, and I think he's right. Once upon a time, it used to be you had WWE in the forefront, maybe not giving the best stuff, but they were still the leader, of course. And you hear about the guy Kevin Steen, who was killing it on the Indies, or you hear about the Young Bucks, or you hear about whomever, and like there was that buzz, and whether that buzz got them to WWE right away, or whether that buzz just took them around to Japan and all over the world. Now with AEW and AEW's ability and to sign people at a quicker rate and sign more people, I don't feel like it. I feel like there's less of an indie buzz. So that's one thing in terms of like trying to find talent and stars to bring as an attraction. That's one thing. The other thing, I'll be really curious. Okay, so what does happen? Usually WrestleCon is always the major convention that lines up and runs the same city as WrestleMania, and there you see indie talent that have big names. There you see WWE legends that are splitting their time between if they can get booked at WrestleCon or if they have WWE asked obligations for their meet and greets over there. Like, what does a WrestleCon do? Does it? I mean, because one thing, because the way it always worked would be like, okay, you'd have, let's say you're said WWE legend, you'd fly into said city, and somebody would pay for that flight. Whether WWE's paying for you because you're a big legend that they're putting you and doing a signing first and foremost, or whether WrestleCon's paying for you, or some vendor at WrestleCon is paying for your flight. And then once you're there, you have your WrestleCon obligations, but then, hey, you take a few other bookings if you have the time. If you're a legend, you're probably not wrestling. But if you're said name who still is currently wrestling, maybe you're a former WWE star who's trying to make money off your days that haven't been on TV, you get flown out there, you sign some autographs, do some meet and greets, but then, hey, you get booked on Joey Janela's show and you can wrestle. So that's a lot of people that all travel into one city, different people paying for different things. Like, I don't imagine that's going to be happening. I don't imagine WrestleCon's going to be setting up in Riyadh and bringing all these. So I'll be curious. Is WrestleCon the glue that helps bring everybody together and say, look, we're going to do what we normally do. We're going to pick a city, and we're going to do just like we normally would do for WrestleMania weekend, and we're going to have everybody here. Let's make a thing out of it. Let's still give wrestling fans that experience that they're used to having in March and April every year.
Well, that's why you fight that system. Like, here's the thing about WrestleMania weekend. Like, we could watch both. Obviously, many people are watching WrestleMania, but also want to be part of the wrestling festivities around it. And because it's in Saudi Arabia, you won't be able to do that. Someone has to be in. Hell, I know people, Justin, that will go to every indie event and every party and skip WrestleMania. They won't even go to people too. It's plenty. It's just fly in, just be like, man, that was a great match. This is a great match. I can't believe I saw Paul Walterhausen in person. All this other stuff, right? And all the WrestleMania parties around it, but never go to WrestleMania. I know people like, so I guess what I'm saying is there's money to be made, and you shouldn't have to sit home with your thumb up your ass just because Saudi Arabia has WrestleMania. There's an opportunity to enjoy wrestling, and also for those that are indies or veterans, for them to be able to work. We know, by the way, many wrestlers that, as you mentioned, that will wrestle 3 or 4 times in a day. Because of the venues are close and they'll wrestle like, hey, I just saw this person at this show. Oh, he's over at this show. We've seen that before. Didn't we not see Vikingo wrestle like 2 or 3 times in a day or others like that? So I just think that there is an opportunity to be able to appreciate WrestleMania for what it is, even though it's not in our country, but also be able to say, this is where we congregate. This is our wrestling Woodstock, where we're all going to be here, all the conventions, all the stuff. It just won't be WrestleMania helping us. It's just going to be everyone helping each other. And by the way, you didn't mention AEW in that. I did say to start this, with or without AEW's help.
I mentioned AEW. I said AEW should be the leading the pack because they have the most resources.
And I'm saying that in case that Tony Khan is not interested.
Well, if he's not interested, that's a huge mistake on his part.
Yeah,
that would be that would show an ineptness of like, here is a chance. Like, now he would have to probably listen and cooperate and maybe take some advice and take some lead from other promoters and other bookers who have been doing it longer than he, even though he has more money than them. But that would be a chance to like really step up. Again, I don't know where they're going to be come spring of 2027. I don't know where, but that would be a huge miss if something like this was put together and he didn't get involved. Look, again, all my years of going to Mania cities, it was kind of routine for me. I'd go in for many years, working with the great Damian Nelson and Dave here, we would do a Kevin Nash party every year, Kevin Nash WrestleMania party every year, and I would meet a sect of fans that would come in, and I'd talk to them, and like you said, they tell me what they're doing, where they come in from, are they staying for WrestleMania? Then I would do a meet and greet for the Chair Shot reality video web series I was doing for many years, and I again talk to fans, this and that. You are right. There are fans that do come in and they just do everything else except for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they can get more bang for their buck spreading their dollar out amongst these 5 events versus this one event. This is when Mania was just one night. There are fans that do that, but let's just say out of the, out of all of them, I still think it was a minority percentage. If 70,000 people could go to WrestleMania, okay, maybe, I don't know, 80, 90,000 people came into that city. Like, I still think the majority. So what my point is, I love the concept, and I think it's worthwhile to be investigating, and needs to start being investigating now for WrestleCon and for AEW and all those places to try to start to pinpoint city, pinpoint venues, pinpoint when we could do it. Of course, you have to wait to find out the exact date of WrestleMania. They didn't give us the exact date. That needs to start happening now. But I do think we have to also speak in reality of it's going to be tough to match the same energy when you don't have WWE and WrestleMania there in that town. It is going to still be hard to. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile to try, but it is going to be a challenge. Let's not kid ourselves that WrestleMania still drove the energy and drove you did all the other things, all to build up until Sunday when it came time for the big show. So I don't know. I don't like it. It's.
I know,
but like I said, I don't like it, but I understand.
Yeah.